Great start to the stream. Great start to the stream. Absolutely forgot my my mic the minute I start stream. All right. Yes, it is New Printer Day. How is everyone doing? It's been a long time. It has been, the last time I put a video out was October. And that was the container video. And then the container went tits up. So yeah, it's been a very long time. Yeah, so just want to say a quick hello to everyone who's in chat. If you've never been to one of our streams before, I do encourage people just to join in, chat as much as they can, because it just makes the stream more enjoyable for everyone, I think. If you haven't seen the space before, this was my old studio, which is now turned back into my new studio again, and I've spent the last few months just getting it basically ready to stream. So there's a whole bunch of upgrades that we've done, but yeah. What happened to the container? Basically, I shut this place down, and I was going to use it just as my print farm and set it up as my print farm, whilst I was going to bring all the Milo stuff to the container. I still got the container, but the permission I got to use it as a space to do some workshop stuff in got taken away 3 days after I'd already moved everything over. So all the stuff that I bought, the solar panels that I bought, the batteries that I bought, the desk that I built for in there, yep, it all got yoinked out from underneath me. So if anyone does need a desk, let me know. Yeah, it was a pain. It was a pain. Also, hey David, hey Yomagand. Is anyone else in chat? No, no one else in chat yet. But yeah, so let's get to what we actually doing the stream for. About a month ago, we'll go further back. I was at Smurf a few weeks ago. You might have seen some of the videos from there. It was a great time. I loved it. And one of our honorary team members, who's also on the Positron team, Nomad, if you've ever seen the Positron 3D printers, that's the guy who's behind it, he works for Prusa. And we got chatting at the after party on the first night about getting me a machine. So he put me in contact with Tommy from Prusa, who's one of their marketing managers, I believe. I might be wrong with that. He might be joining us later in the stream, to be honest. And he liked the idea of supporting us. So I've been needing a big 3D printer for a while, and I'll get more into that later on. But basically, I've been wanting a Core 1L for a very, very long time. So this is partially sponsored by Prusa. I will make that very clear at the very start of this whole thing. But yeah, they sent over a Core 1L. I'm going to be doing a whole lot of projects on it, including we've got a new version of Casa, not the Casa Rev 3, a whole new version of Casa that I'm going to be building for this workshop. And that build has already started. I've already ordered the extrusions for it. I've already ordered the filament for it. But yeah, without further ado, let's do what I'm going to stop blathering. We're going to actually get going with the unboxing. You might notice that the top is already undone. That's just because whoever shipped it was an ape, and it had already broken the seal on the top. So I've just popped it open, grabbed all the loose bits from the top already, but the rest of the unboxing hasn't been done yet. It does have some. It's a huge box. It's massive. What's in the box? A cat, obviously. Well, we won't know until we open it whether or not the cat's alive or dead. That's the whole point. Brisket is going to come in later. I just want to make sure that this bit gets out the way first, because this is huge and I don't want to accidentally be dropping things on him. So I will bring him in a little bit. Hey, Raj. Raj. I'm guessing you're the same Raj from that I met at Smurf, yeah? Yeah. Perfect. So there are instructions on the box for these already. It does say to tip it all on its side in a minute, but I am just going to take everything out that's already on the top so nothing falls out. Most important thing of all. I need to move over to OBS so I can actually see what I'm doing. Right, stream upgrade. Most important item of them all, Haribo's. Right, these will be put aside and they will be put to good use in a bit. Right, I'm actually gonna, whilst we've got it, I can show you all the new stream upgrades that we got. So we've got the overhead cam now, and I can enable that in there, just like that. We've got cable. We've got something that you rarely see in a lot of the cheaper brands. You don't even get these with Bamboo machines. An actual manual for everything. It's been so long since I've seen a proper manual for a 3D printer. I know Prusa's been doing these for a while, but you gotta remember, this is my first ever Prusa. The first time I ever saw a Prusa printer was at the first Smurf, and they'd been a thing for years at that point. The first Smurf was only 3 years ago. There's a little QA receipt, by the looks of it. Make sure everything's correct. A little sign thing from Prusa. Thank you for purchasing a Prusa Core 1L. In my case, obviously, it's a sponsored one. Your support allows us to invest further development, and not just in our 3D printers, but also open source tools like Prusa Slicer, high quality Prusa materials, and printables.com. Yeah. I've had a principal. We've obviously had the Printables account for a while now. I know the next extruder doesn't use normal V6 nozzles, so I know it comes with a hardened nozzle as standard in the kit, well, in the box. But Prusa, right? If you ever watch this video, if anyone from Prusa ever watches this video, install this as standard, because it's really annoying before having to do any prints to have to take this out and install it. Just my 2 cents. Just my 2 cents. Just install the hardened nozzle as standard. Don't even include the brass nozzle, really. A bunch of spare rivets and isopropyl. What looks like a toolkit. I think this is the fully assembled one, so I hopefully don't need to worry about any of that, but it's nice to have. Although I've got millions of them at this point. USB stick. That's a how to print guide. Where is Brisket? Brisket's gonna come in a bit, guys. We should make a game where you play as a cat and maybe not as a zombie cat. Quantum zombie. What did I do to Brisket? Brisket's fine. Brisket's fine. He's full of chicken at the minute. All right. We had a roast earlier, and he's full of chicken. Looks like spool holder. Spool holder. That's better. You can actually see what you guys are saying. And oh yeah. I forgot Prusa does the camera module for Prusa, for the Core ones is a separate module, but I think it comes standard on the Core 1L and the Core 1 Plus now. Oh my god, it's actually really good print quality. Okay, right. Is this just an ESP cam? There's an SD card in it. I don't know if this is a custom job or it's just an ESP cam. Anyone know? Due to the Core 1L uses 240 volt for the bed, they will have a kit. They will not have a kit. Ah, okay, cool. Shocking, a 3D printer company puts on a high quality printer. Am I right? I know. Hey, Thomas is here. How you doing, Thomas? It's been a while. Oh my god. Giant print bed. Right. Here's one of the reasons I wanted the Core 1L and not just the normal Core 1. I don't actually need 300 mils. I might have a few projects that require like 280 or something like that. But one of the big issues I've been having with the Bamboo machines is because I print such large parts, because of the way print beds work, the heat is most concentrated in the very center of the bed, which means that every time I try and print something that's nearing like 240 to 256, obviously Bamboo sizes, the edges become too cool and I end up getting a lot of curling on ABS prints. So one of the reasons I wanted a bigger printer was because you then have all your heat concentrated in the middle, which is going to be where the usable part of the print is. It's been a while, and one day you will need that 300. Yes, I do have a couple plans that require like 280, 290, but just in terms of actual volume, that's the difference between a 256 bed and a 300mm bed. 40mm doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're putting them side by side, it's a massive difference. Time is expiring in 40 seconds. Oh no! And the wife's back. Oh, fair. Run for the hills, the wife's back. Right, I think that's everything. It was a big surprise. Like, I've seen the Core one. I've seen the normal Core one and the Core one Plus. I've seen them at Smurf. But I wasn't expecting it to come in a box this big. You can barely fit this through my front door. Barely. I don't believe the print is going to be as big, but it is well packaged. Let's put it like that. It is extremely well packaged. Why don't you have an LDO V2.4? I have an LDO Trident. It is currently under this kitchen table, which I've used as a worktop. I've doubled up as a worktop. Yeah, I have a V2 Trident. Sorry, not a V2 Trident. I have a Trident, but I have so many other things to do that I don't want to have to mess around with 3D printers. I love messing around with 3D printers, and I've got the Micron for that, but I need to wait until the Micron is... I need to wait until Atlas is done, because I have something I want to do on the Micron, which requires the build area of Atlas. But I really don't have the time to be messing around with 3D printers, hence why all my printers in service right now are all pre-made ones. I love messing around with them, but I can't afford to lose out on dev time. All right, I think the scary part is... Wait, was I meant to leave the foam in? No, it says take the foam... Oh. Oh, okay. It kind of assumes that you're doing this on the floor, and I don't have enough floor space in here for this. So... I'm very sorry, Prusa. I'm going to be breaking your unboxing rules. How's that list going these days? I'm at a point where CAD is pretty much done. I need parts made. Up until now, you might notice there's a lack of Milos in here. I don't currently have a Milo. I've either sold them to team members or given them away for various different things, various different reasons. So all the machines, I don't have a mill at the minute. I do have, I'm going to spoil some things for you. I've got a tiny box version of Casa coming. So other than the door extrusions and the crossbar extrusions, everything else is a 700mm extrusion, right? It's going to cost half as much as the original Casa did. It's going to have fairly standard panels, much smaller panels, obviously, and it's going to be sized only just to fit Miley and not Milo. So if you don't have the space, if you never had the space for the big old Casa, we're going to be starting work on a new Casa that's much, much smaller. I'm nicknaming it Tiny Box for now. In that Casa, because LDO V2 is coming out soon, Milo and Miley V2, they're going to send me a release candidate box, a release candidate kit. So I'm going to have another V2 kit to build on stream fairly soon. And once that's arrived, that's going to be my prototyping box and machine that I can finally get going on making Atlas parts. Because up until now, I've been getting them sent over from Germany, but from Phil. So, yeah, the guy who designs mills doesn't have a mill at the minute. Is there an index in this box? No, I don't believe there's an index. I think it would be on the box if it said it. Ooh! You didn't hear that. That was a very manly scream. I don't want to hear it. Woo. Oh my goodness. This is a space constraint thing, not a lack of strength thing. I keep hitting the back wall. There we go. I'm so sorry, Joseph. I'm so sorry, Mr. Prusa. Right. This is more the size I was expecting of a box. Yeah. I hope it's cool. Otherwise, I've got no reason to live if it's not cool. I also forgot to turn one of my lights on. There we go. That's a little bit better. Right. I'm going to take a minute just to take this outside because otherwise I'm going to be battling against this box the whole stream. Prusa, I get that you're trying to send something over and make it not smash, but do you need a box this big? I mean, really? All right, come on, bud. All right, stream wants you to say hi. Yeah? All right, come on. Come on. Jump. 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 There we go. Here he is. There he is. The brisket's alive and well. He's full of chicken. He's full of chicken. All right. He is full of chicken. Yeah? The world was missing you. And you got a lot bigger since last time you were on stream. Right. Okie doke. I don't have any bribes for you in here at the minute. No bribes. But... oh, there you go. All right. I'm going to head out again. There you go, bud. I'm sure he'll be back on stream in a bit. I'm sure he will be back in a bit. You can't have my Haribos, though. Haribos are mine. Right. Let's get back to the fun part. Ooh. I forgot Prusa does this. They sell... is this a box of PLA or ABS? They have sent over one of the things that we have, one of the conditions that Prusa gave me to send this over was that the next Milo I build has to be Prusa colors. So we are going to be doing a Prusa colored Milo build for the tiny box. Miley build. Is this PLA? Yeah, it's PLA. I don't really use PLA. So they've sent over some Prusa Orange ABS and some, I think this is carbon-filled polycarbonate. So polycarbonate will be good for stiffness, so I'll be using it for as many of the engineering joints as possible for Miley, but I'm probably not going to use it for the entire frame. I've got some glass-filled ABS from everyone. That will do the trick on that, in that regard. Right, how am I going to do this? Oh my god. So shiny. Right. It's going to want me to flip it on its side. So I'm going to... I wish I had a bigger workshop. Wouldn't it be nice if I could have a container? Wouldn't it be so nice if I had a container? He's not quite as big as me yet, no. I'm going to make my life a little bit easier and just get rid of these. So I can flip it on its side a little easier without it hitting things. So yeah, eventually I'm going to move Tiny Box underneath the table. I'm going to have to raise the table up with some printed legs, but there's already printed feet, already printed risers on there anyway, so that's not too bad. I literally just need to do a single extrude on a CAD file I have already. That's how small Tiny Box is going to be. It's going to be about 2 printers in width and 2 printers in depth. 740 by 740. Oh, why can't I get some of the love, David? It's a bit rude. I know Brisket's he's a hunk, but come on, I'm equally as deserving of love. Right, that should make my life a little bit easier. Do it on this one? No, do it on this one, then transfer it over here so you guys can see. Oh. Jesus Christ. Oh, she's a big boy. What is the tiny box? It's going to be an enclosure for Miley, not Milo. It's basically the smaller version of Casa. So you can fit Miley in it, and it's going to be a lot smaller than Casa is. So 740 by 740 by 700 tall. So that's about the width of 2 printers side by side. So if you have the space for 2 printers, but didn't have the space for Milo in the past, we've got a solution for you. Right. Loads of foam, loads of cardboard. Okie doke. Print bed is still over here. All right, one more trip outside. Cardboard. All right, that is a way more manageable size, I think. That is a way more manageable size. I built the original Casa, now I don't have room for 2 more printers. What happened to my container? I've already said this at the beginning of the stream. I'm going to quickly say it again, and if anyone asks again, just point them to the beginning of the stream. I got given permission for everything, moved in, moved all my stuff across, built that bench, and then 3 days later got told that I no longer had permission. So I still got the container, I'm still using it for storage stuff. My monitor is just turned off. Why is my monitor just turned off? My monitor's back on. I've reset my... This is a whole new computer. This is kind of Frankenstein from the old stream PC and my living room PC, because the old stream PC just decided to die as I was suiting this place up. But yeah, okay. So we've got it. We've got the big boy. Now, are there any unboxing instructions anywhere? Any setup instructions? 3D printing handbook. It's too late to switch to the Miley. I already have Milo V2 up and running with the Casa. I was going to say, if it wasn't for the Casa, it's never too late to switch over to Miley. If you've got Milo, you've got all the parts you need for Miley. You just need to reprint them. Right. My favorite thing to do on stream, reading manuals. Unpackaging and contents. Okay, attach the display panel. Where is le display panel? Is le display panel? Do not clean panels with IPA. Use alcohol-free. Okie doke. Perfect. How is everything, by the way? And like I said, this is a whole new PC, so I've had to start everything again from scratch with the way the stream is set up. So, is everything looking all right? Is everything sounding all right? Remove packaging and 2 cables, and then I'll need to cut some zip ties. So, right. We're going to do this properly. We're going to do this properly. if there is a peel that needs to be peeled, we're going to do this properly. All right. I'm going to turn. There we go. Oh, no, I fucked it up. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'll pause that video actually. It is a bit funky having it on. Right. That was an awful peel. I think there's going to be a redeeming moment sometime. There's a peel on the top. We'll do the peel on the top in a bit. Best peel I've experienced all day. How many peels do you experience every day? Right. Someone noticed this on a forum the other day. And if it's right, if it's true, I'm going to get a little bit upset with Prusa. I'm going to be a little bit upset with Prusa if this is correct. These oranges don't match. These oranges don't match. The orange accent here does not match their filament. That's made me very sad. It's made me super sad. I'm so sad. On average, below 1 peel a day. You obviously don't eat enough bananas. Right. I'm getting distracted. I need to do this. Don't. There we go. Right. Stay. Oh, is it magnet held with a magnet? What? It says I need to cut zip ties, but there are no zip ties that needs cutting. Oh well. Okay, attach the display to the panel of the printer. The panel is held in place magnetically. First, insert the left side, then the right side, and carefully slide it down. Okie doke. Okie doke. I don't have to plug anything in, do I? No. Do I have to take these bumpers off? Yeah, it looks like I have to take these little bumpers off. I do like the fact that they've included little printed covers just to make... Right. Apologies, you're getting a good view of the back of my head right now. Cool. All right. There we go. The front bits are injection molded, not printed. I do believe... Well, they just fine set. No, those are definitely injection molded. So the... Oh no, those are printed. Yeah. The gantry parts are still printed. Done, 10 minutes. You can also see our left ear. My left ear. Our left ear? Our left ear. I didn't realize it was communist stream. But yeah. Okie doke. What's next? Unscrew the bed. By the looks of it. So I'm guessing this is done just like any of the bamboo machines are. Just to be cheeky. Oh, I'm doing this the cheaty way. I'm doing this the way that engineers hate. I'm using a Torx bit on a hex screw. How far off are the oranges from each other? They're not too far off. I'll give Prusa a pass. I'll give Prusa a pass. You know what? It's actually probably a better view from the overhead cam. Whilst I'm doing this bit. So it looks like the screwdriver they send, it is a Torx bit, I think. Is that a Torx bit? Yeah, that's a Torx bit, but it does fit the bolts. And since you're probably not going to be reusing these bolts anytime soon, you might as well use it. Okie doke. All right, that's the bed undone. It looks like spool holder next. Easy as that. And is this all one piece? Yes, it is. It's not an expandable one. Okay, that's fine. It's all good. It's not one of the expandable ones, but I don't buy 2 kilogram spools anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. Video quality is much better on the overhead. Really? Okay. I'm surprised by that because it's proper DSLR on the other one. Oh, cool. In that case, I'll just use it as my, I don't know, my computer webcam when I'm working at the computer. Cool. Yeah, it's a Sony A5000 up here. Is it just because it's too, is it too dark? Is that just too dark? Is that better? Is that just as good as the overhead cam, or we sticking to the overhead cam as the main cam? Better. Not just brightness, colors are funky. It looks a bit smudged and foggy. Okay. Colors look fine my end. Hey, One Solid Cube, how you doing? Right. Bed is now fully released. That's been fully released. Okie doke, okie doke, okie doke, okie doke. Right. Camera next. Camera module next. Gonna guess because there's a. Ooh! That's neat. That's neat. There's a little carrier for the USB, for the USB-C. I like that. A little shipping carrier. Which way does this mount? Okay. USB lead faces that way. It's just magnetic, isn't it? There we go. There we go. Cool. Cool. Awesome. Right. New house, way smaller room. Nope, same room. It's exactly the same room as before. Not even small, not smaller. I actually have way more space than I used to because of the way I've laid it out. That's probably going to change once I've got enclosures over here. It's just a small room. Like I can nearly touch both sides at the same time. I'm about half a ruler's width away. This is why I've been gone for so long, because I've had to redo all of this. Send you a picture of what it looks like on my end through Discord. Probably best thing to look on my phone, to be honest. I've not received anything on Discord. There it is. Discord does something funky to that picture, makes it look even weirder. Is it just oversaturated? I have the worst eye when it comes to stuff like this. I am the worst person for stuff like this. Because to me, that looks fine. Hey ho. Anyways, let's continue, shall we? Right, what was I needing to do? So, camera's in, bed's done, and leave power on and the bed on the magnets. Okie doke. Bed goes in that way. Ah, apologies. Alright. Oh my god, that is... Whoa! Holy cow. I've never had a printer with inbuilt magnets into the print bed. So I'm so used to just being able to peel it off. I'm not smart enough to use the fancy words on this topic. Why use fancy... Why big word when small word do? Why big word when small word do? Okie doke. Right, I don't have a socket free at the minute because I've only got 2 sockets in this whole place and it's currently powering the whole room. And so I have big battery. I think big battery will do for now until I can find a more permanent solution. Have I lost the cable? I swear, every stream I do just turns into a prop hunt. There it is. Anyone who's been watching Nero, has his predictions come true to you yet? I still haven't seen filament costs jump too much yet. Right? I still haven't seen filament costs jump too much. Or even at all, really. But it would be interesting to hear what everyone else is thinking on that one. Also, Jormungand, have you started your V2 build yet? Have you started sourcing anything? Three, two, one. Contact! Time is up again. He's finding parts still. Have you started ordering anything? Or are you just looking around for parts? Joke. Select language. Is this touchscreen? It is a touchscreen. Hi, this is your Prusa Core 1L printer. I would like to guide you through the setup process. Hey, Joe. Do you want to connect to the Wi-Fi on the Prusa app on your phone using NFC? I don't have the Prusa app loaded, so I'm going to say no for now. It spoke to me. My printer just spoke to me. Just said Wi-Fi connection failed. Duck. No. Duh. Scan networks. Okey-doke. That's really annoying that it has the old 70s. Old 70s, oh not 70s, old early 2000s style texting system. Right, I'm gonna skip network setup for now. That's been done. Do you want to enable door sensor safety feature? Yes. Happy printing, continue. Awesome. What is load filament, unload filament, purge? Let's use the PLA. Because everything that's probably sliced already is probably pre-sliced for PLA. I installed Cartographer V4 on the Mavora V2 and now spent 3 days getting ZOS working perfectly. I think my current supply of materials will be enough for the year if this continues. I got Claude. I have the exact same issue, and Claude, the AI, the Anthropic AI, was the biggest help in that regard. I had the exact same sensor on my Trident. Whilst I was waiting for this printer and waiting for some materials to arrive for Atlas, I had one last go at getting my Trident up and running. And now the bed levels perfectly. But I still have that weird extrusion glitch. And I've replaced everything on that machine, barring the main board at this point in time. So I've replaced the hot end, I've replaced the gear, the extruders, I've tried different style extruders. I've done everything I possibly can, and nothing. I cannot get the extrusion issues gone. The only thing I haven't changed is the Leviathan. Sorry, not Leviathan. The octopus that's in there. Okay, it says no USB. So it doesn't have internal storage for prints, by the looks of it. Which is fine. To be honest, I actually prefer that. I just wonder if it needs the USB installed to be able to print it all, or does it have enough onboard memory? Nope. Verification prints. I'm gonna go back for now. Filament, load filament. Oh my god. One thing I will say is that the Prusa spools look absolutely fantastic. I know there's a whole lot of hype around how well wound these were years and years ago, but I've never seen it in person, and honestly, I didn't think I'd be this excited about it. I am super excited for this thing, by the way. I know it sounds like I'm being a bit negative, but I've wanted this machine for a long, long time. Basically since they announced it. The Core 1, the normal Core 1, a little bit less. Just because 220 is too small of a build size for me. Something's logging. That. Close the door to prevent air drafts. Loading filaments. Oh. Oh, is it driven from this end? Looks like it's heating, maybe. Or have I just got a bent bit of filament here? Is that not going through? PLA. Make sure the filament is inserted through the sensor. It's not actually inserting. Is it because it's got a flat tip on the end? There we go. Yeah. It's the old classic one. I do like the fact. So that's heating up now. Will you be getting the IDEX when it comes out? I don't know. I'm gonna get the IDEX for the Micron because I want the Micron to be my IDEX printer. Hence why I'm still waiting on getting Atlas up and running, because I want that to be the last DIY printer I need to make. I want to just have everything on it. But I don't really want more than 2 print heads on IDEX. I don't care about multiple colors. And if I do end up caring about it, I'm probably just gonna run I have a box turtle here that I haven't put together. Probably just going to run box turtle on my main filament, so I could do that for color changes. And then just have the other one as either TPU or support overhang material. If you just want 2 tools, you should probably just do Mad Max. I want the index not just because it can do multi-material or color changes. I want it because I want a put together extruder and hot end combo. That's all I want. I want to be able to have something that's already got the settings pretty much built in for it, and I had to do very little tuning for. Because as much as I love the work that goes into, all the new hot end and extruder assemblies, I appreciate it. It is just choice paralysis for me. Whether it be Zoll or any of the armchair engineering things, hot ends, it's just I don't want to have to worry about which extruder and which hot end combo I'm using. I just want something that works and I can stick in any printer. The selling point for me is a multi-tool head and multi-material and not multicolor. Yeah, I mean, again, I just want 2 materials, and I think it's the easiest way to route it because you don't need to have the big top hat to do 2 nozzles, because the reason you have 2 nozzles, the reason you have the big top hat is to accommodate the Bowden tubes so that they don't cross over and get tangled within each other. If you've only got 2 hot end assemblies, 2 Bowden tubes, you can run one on this side, one on that side, and they'll never meet within the entire build plate of the machine. And that's all I care about. I don't want to have to faff around with a big top hat, because the big top hat just means more heating that needs to be done in the chamber to get it up to ABS temperature. Is the color correct? Yes. Okie doke. I love the concept of index. I get it. There's nothing like index at the minute. There's the tool changer, but there's nothing as expandable as index. There's, is it the U1? Yeah. There's a Snapmaker U1, which is 4 colors. I get that they're doing, there is a mod out there. Some community is doing multiple AMS systems on each head of the U1, which I think is really cool. Keychain, simple wallet, spatula. Rules benchy, bonkers benchy. What we're doing? Yeah, let's do a bonkers benchy. I want to see what a bonkers benchy looks like. What are we talking about? Have I just forgotten again? No, I do this all the time. I want in. Yeah, you can do multi-material with 2 heads. I don't care about multicolor, so I don't need more than 2 heads. That's my whole thing. Print. Oh, is this the one that has? There we go. There's a bit better feel. Right. It should, if I remember correctly, actually actually open the vents up by itself now. I think they're already open, but it should automatically open the vents up. Better peel, worse experience. Will Index be available for the Voron V2? It'll be available for whatever printer you want to put it on. You can put it on pretty much any printer so long as you can modify it without it breaking and have access to the firmware. So any printer that runs Clipper and can support the overhead you'll need. So you probably wouldn't be able to put it on something like the Centauri Carbon, because the Centauri Carbon has basically no overhead in terms of the actual horsepower in the MCU. Okie doke. All right. Looks like it's doing bed mesh. No. Things load cell now. Is it heating up the bed? 57 degrees Celsius. That's so specific. Why is it so specifically 57 degrees Celsius? PTG/PLA, I'm considering getting the Core 1L with an index, as a Prusa XL5 tool without an enclosure warps too much. To enclose, I'd have to rebuild all the hot ends in ASA PC, as mine were PTG neck extruders. That's fair. Fair. There was a point in time where the Prusa XL was the only thing on the market, and now there's loads of things out there. Yes, you're not going to get the same build volume. Obviously, the XL part of the Prusa XL is quite unique still. But yeah, there's no need for the Prusa XL. I think if Prusa wants to keep the XL, there needs to be some kind of update to it. And the problem with updating something like the XL is they made decisions based on around developing the XL that are going to make it really, really hard to update in a way that brings it up to speed, if that makes sense. Like the whole fact that it's a unsupported front end means that if they wanted to upgrade it, they need to add extrusions to the front and basically rebuild the entire thing from the ground up. You can see a Prusa Core 1 on XL coming down the track using a 360 bed. Yeah. Again, there's no real separation between something like this with an index on it and the Prusa XL. The Prusa XL has a bunch of really cool features on it. Like it has the split bed heating, where it's loads of little heated beds rather than one big one, which does have its benefits. But at the same time, the quality of the print doesn't change too much when you have that kind of feature. But yeah, I say all this. I still think out of all of the range that Prusa makes, out of the Core 1, the Mark IV, and the XL, and the Core 1L, the Core 1L makes the most sense to me. It makes the most sense in so many ways. Especially if you start thinking about index. And the big thing, the big overarching thing, the reason I'm going away from the bamboo printers and going towards the Prusas is because I know that this will be supported for the next 10 years. So long as Prusa is still around, there will be an upgrade path for this. Yeah, even if that means changing the geometry of it in some way, like when they went from the Mark IV to the Core 1, and it was that whole jump. Jake, you need one tool head for ABS, TPU, PTG, and PLA, and they can act as support material for each other. I don't print PLA. I almost never print PTG. I print ABS. It's all I have at the moment. I have some nylon, but I've had that spool for years. So it's probably about 3 times the weight of when it started. So there's no reason for me to have more than 2. I can either set it up as ABS and then PTGs for supports, or ABS and TPU as a combined material, doing living hinges or something like that. But again, whenever I print TPU, I generally don't need to print other solid materials with it. So the most common combination for me would be ABS and PTG. I have 2 Core 1s, 2 Tool XL, Bamboo X1C, a V2.4, and a Micron. Jesus. Good man, Raj. Like no one makes a decent printer with a 500 by 500 bookplate. That's because when you make big printer, it still need be hot. When printer hot, printer expand. When big printer expand, it expands by lots. So yeah, making big printers is hard. We have to have, on TinyBox and all the casters going forward, we're having to put an intake fan that comes from the electronics box straight into, oh, my earphones are dying, straight into the chamber, because we're having issues and we don't even have a heated bed or any heated components. So like, Milo by itself is expanding too much. I can't imagine what it's like when you have a 70-degree chamber. Big printer equal big problems, yeah. It's just, again, people expect a certain amount of speed from printers nowadays. Like, I wouldn't personally go out and buy a Mark III or a Mark IV because it's too slow for my workload. A Core 1 or a Core 1L, that's perfectly acceptable. You make a big printer, you need to slow it down because you have a lot more moving mass. But that said, I do think that printers need to start moving more towards being very heavy instead of being very light. Same thing with printers. Make really light tool heads and really light gantries, but make the actual printer itself like 50 kilos. Because that way it has more dampening mass to it. Big printers overrated. 350, XY, and 390Z is ideal. I don't care about Z height a lot of the time. There's never been a time in my life where Z height has been my limit. Especially, well, I say in my life, that's not true. There's never been a time in my dev life doing any of the Atlas parts or Milo parts or Miley parts or anything like that where Z has been my limit. Because a lot of the time, you've got wide parts that are maybe like 150 mil tall. At one stage in my career, I was really considering asking Jason if I could get a V2.4 kit and then making a squat one that only had 150 millimeters of height, of build height. Because I don't care about Z. I know that's not like what a lot of people do, but I don't print trinkets. I don't print Deadpool busts and things like that. I say that whilst I'm printing a boat, but that's just because it was what was on the card. I find that I always need either a teeny printer, like a V0 or smaller, or my 350 V2 is barely big enough. I think that if you had to have one printer, right, you would have a 250. And 250 suits pretty much everyone's needs. 180, however, so something like a Micron, will fit more people's printing needs than a 120 V0 will. I think 180 is the perfect small printer size. It's the same size as the A1 Mini, the Prusa Mini, obviously the Micron. But that size is big enough that you can get most big prints on, because you can do everything that Milo requires, for example, on a 180 mil bed. Yeah, you can. And it's small enough that you could shove it away in a cupboard whilst you're not using it. And that's why I like the Micron so much, because it's a fun printer for a start, which is what we kind of need in the 3D printing space for the DIY side. We need reasons to build them that aren't practicality, because practicality means buying a pre-made printer nowadays. And it needs to still have some use case to it. 180 mil is what I would buy if I was back in my university dorm. I'd buy a Micron or something with a 180 bed. I bet if you look at all your prints you've ever done, and I bet your average will be about 3 to 4 inches tall. I think the tallest I've done on the XL was 260, and it was a good spool for a 4 kilometer thread bobbin. Yeah, exactly. Honestly, like, do I have any Milo parts around? I don't have any Milo parts around. So this is from my old... Ooh, print's finished. I'll let that cool down in a second. This is probably something that's more realistic that most people would print. right? This fits on a 250mm bed. It's like an inch tall. It's very rare that in the engineering sense of these machines, that you will end up using wide and tall space. Because at that point, you're looking at a whole spool of material just for a single print. And I kind of find that wasteful. But again, I'm using these for practical reasons. Man, that benchy's almost done. The benchy is done. The benchy is done. Now, this was the non-benchy rules benchy. And if we have a look. Oh. Camera turned itself off. If we have a look at it. So this is the speed, this was the non-speed benchy rules. Come on, focus. Honestly, that's not bad. I'll do the proper speed benchy ones now, if you'd like. We got boat. We got boat. That's why I'm saying we need 500 by 500 build plates sometimes. I don't know. Like I said in the very beginning, the reason I wanted the 300 wasn't to use 300 millimeters of space. It's because I know on a 300, the center of the build plate is where you'll get most of the heat. For the first like 250 mil from center, that's where you're going to have most of your heat. So if you're printing ABS, for example, it's going to be more, if you're printing something that's 250 millimeters wide, it's going to be more effective to do that on a 300 mil build plate than it is going to be doing it on a 250 mil build plate, because the edges of the build plate lose the most heat, and it's where most of the warping is going to come from. And because I'm printing so many big parts nowadays for Atlas, because I'm validating all the parts for Atlas in glass-filled ABS, and then I'm milling them out later, or getting them milled by someone else. Ripped Green. Where 350 by 350 by 310 is just only big enough. Fair enough. I had a Seaball V2.4 kit on AliExpress. Might get that at the end of the year. The Milo V2 has gone over my my budget for the year. Oh god. Yeah, they're not cheap. I will say that. They're cheaper than pretty much anything that's on the market. In terms of bang for buck. Don't agree with, for most people, small printer would be fine. And for most of the printed, that's absolutely true. Yeah. $400 cubed or more printers are just for flexing at Maker Faire. Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. Okie doke. What are we printing next? So that was the bonkers benchy. There's the rules benchy. So votes for rules benchy. Right. If you want the rules benchy, the speedboat rules benchy, then put a 1 in chat for me. If you want the rocket engine, put a 2. So 1 for speed benchy with the actual rules this time, and 2 for the rocket engine. And then we can just shoot the shit whilst that's printing. I like having the spool internal to the volume of the printer. I don't like, if you've watched any of the reviews for the X2D, I don't like the fact that it has warts on it. This is a very personal and very nonsensical view, but I think the X2D, is the X2D? Yeah, it's the X2D. I don't like it, the look of it, because it just has warts on it. The little added on filter and the Bowden extruder, I just think makes it look so much worse. Right, so we got 2 2s at the minute. We got 2 2s. I'm gonna give you 30 more seconds. On consumer side, obviously at Formnext 400 is tiny, and people wouldn't bat an eyelid. But yeah, you say that. The consumer side and the semi-pro side aren't looking at printers that are what, 30K starting? Right. It's all twos, so we're just going to do the rocket engine. There you go. I don't think we're going to finish this today, but we'll get started on it. How long is it? It's an 18-hour print. So I'm not going to finish this today. I've got extrusions coming in the next 2 days, I think. So we should be able to start the tiny box build either tomorrow or the day after. I was meant to be going camping this weekend, but some stuff came up and I'm not doing that anymore. So I should be here for the extrusion delivery and we can get started on tiny box. And whilst this is going to be printing overnight, obviously, I can show you what the rocket engine looks like tomorrow or the day after. Hi, I can agree, but only old makers, only old makers that are makers before Bamboo era can understand why you would buy a 300 printer to print 200 parts. Yes, that's true. There is. It's been nice to have that we're in an era where people can buy a printer off the shelf and it works effectively flawlessly. But there's so much knowledge that has been lost. So there was a moment in time when V1.5 launched and Vorons had been around for a while and pretty much every printer had been around a while, and we were basically the 3D printer world for CNC machines. We still are. Yeah? We're the CNC machine for 3D printer owners. And it was someone who didn't understand that you needed to go into a config file to update the current on motors, because we set them all low. We set all the current on all the default files really low, just in case someone ends up crashing the machine, right? And that's a normal thing. If you come from the maker / 3D printing / Voron world, you know that that's a thing that happens, and you need to go into your config files and change that. But 2 or 3 times in a row, post Bamboo being a thing, people put messages in the Discord asking why their machines weren't moving, or why the minute they cut, they ended up stalling, stuff like that. And to me, that seemed like it was general knowledge. It's a very, very basic thing that happened on all the kits at the time. But because these guys had come from nothing to Bamboo to Milo, it was never something that they had to do. And it's so inconsequential of a thing, but it made me think, are we losing a lot of what made 3D printing, or made us get to where we are in 3D printing? Does the advanced filter add-on stick out of this printer in the same way? Yes, but it's in the back, and I don't mind the back as much. Here's a controversial take. On the P1Ss, I like the fact that they don't have the side spool holders. I like the fact that the spool holders are on the back, because in a space like this, where I want as many printers as I can possibly have, and I know people are going to find this controversial, the fact that it's not taking up side space means that I can put more printers on a desk in a small space. Yes, it's a little bit inconvenient having to reach over the top of the printer, and if I lived in a place where my printer was up on a shelf and I would have to basically get a step ladder just to put the spool on, that would be really inconvenient. But for me, because of where I am, because everything's on a desk or a work table in here, I can easily reach the back of the printer and load filament. So the back of the printer is not too bad a lot of the time. I know I've just complained about it from Bamboo, but that's because a lot of the stuff that's happening on the back of the printer is also affecting what's on the side of the printer on the Bamboos. Spools go on top. Yeah, I can agree with that too. I just realized the main screen is mirrored the Prusa logo. Is it? Is it mirrored? Oh yes, it is mirrored. Oh well, makes it easier for me to actually use my OBS, because when I turn left, the screen turns left as well, and it confuses my brain less. Yeah. Let's do overhead for now. The problem with the overhead one is I've got a light just behind the overhead camera, so if I stare at it, I go blind. Hence why I want to keep the main camera as the main camera. Damn, I missed this one. Steve, you didn't miss much. Honestly, we just unboxed it, and we're just shooting the shit for now. I do need to print one of those purge buckets that goes on the front. I need to change the nozzle out. Don't let me forget. If I ask me tomorrow or the day after, whenever we next stream, if I've changed the nozzle to the hardened nozzle. Because this thing is going to be pretty much printing loads of carbon fiber filament and glass fiber filament. It's going to be basically my main machine for that. Print the nozzle wiper as well. If I print the nozzle wiper, I'm gonna have to change the starching code, aren't I? This thing still runs Marlin, doesn't it? It still runs a fork of Marlin. Prusa Research. Ugh, research. Prusa Research. Ugh, why is that so hard for me to say? Single-handedly keeping Marlin alive. If it ain't broke, don't change it. Yeah, I've got nothing against it. I've got nothing against Marlin. Marlin's a great firmware. It does everything that it needs to do. Right? There's a lot of stuff in Clipper that I get annoyed with, just as much as I got annoyed with things in Marlin. Nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of stuff in RepRap firmware that I hate. It's nothing bad. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a good firmware. It's just, you've got to admit at the same time that almost no one still uses Marlin, which again, totally fine. I think this is so far from stock Marlin that it can be considered its own thing in a way. But a lot of printers are going that way. You've got Bamboo firmware, sorry. You can Bamboo's proprietary firmware. Marlin, which is basically so far from Marlin that it's not Marlin anymore. Then you've got Clipper, which you can't actually access the Clipper config files on from a lot of printers like the Centauri Carbon or any of the Anycubic machines. That was another thing I loved seeing from Snapmaker. Snapmaker really came out of nowhere, because Snapmaker, all I remember, they made a really, really shitty combo 3D printer that was basically an Ender 3 with, I think, double the price of a Prusa. Then they made the IDEX printer, which was advertised as a high-speed printer, but it wasn't. It wasn't enclosed properly. It wasn't fast, and it was just an IDEX printer, and there were better options at the time. And then they just came out of nowhere with the U1 and actively shat on everything that Bamboo was doing at the time. And that was great. But for so long, I was so skeptical about it, because I never looked at Snapmaker as a brand and went, ooh, I want a Snapmaker product. I actively disliked so many of their products before the UN came out. Then the UN came out, and I quickly got humbled. Marlin, it just works. You turn on the printer and it works. I had a Mark III and sat for 3 years, turned it on and it worked. The printer failed as it started far quicker than the Prusa XL, and I hadn't cleaned it. Exactly. I had this problem with Clipper on my Trident. Right, my Trident was working perfectly, absolutely fine for years. Well, a year. And then I updated Clipper, everything broke. So that's when I decided to rebuild the machine. That was 2 years ago. Every single time I say, you know what, I'm going to get this machine running again, something else breaks. Whether it be a physical break on it, but more often than not, it's a firmware break. The latest one was that my tool head board doesn't work. My LDO Nighthawk, not connecting anymore. Nope, it's gone. Disappeared. It's fucked off into the ether. Right, first layer's down. U1 is basically a Prusa XL with slight diffs. I think 270 is a weird size for it because it's is it 270 by 270 or is it 270 by 250? Right. But I get why they went with that size because it's basically just the width of all 4 tool heads and a little bit extra on each side. The Mark III turn on to print was like 3 minutes. Prusa's like 13 minutes or something. I had a 0.5 millimeters of dust, wiped the bed, and nozzle reprinted, and perfect. Exactly. Prusa has that reputation. They've always had that reputation for just working. Prusa was bamboo before bamboo was. Right? Prusa was bamboo before bamboo was. And Ultimaker was definitely not Prusa before Prusa was here. Because no matter what people tell you about Ultimaker products, the Ultimaker, is it the Mark III that they had at the time? Sucked. We had one at school. It never printed properly. Not once. We replaced it with an Ender 3. That's how bad it was at the time. And it was so slow. But Ultimaker went a completely different route anyway. They went more educational. They went more the educational route. I haven't actually seen this vent open yet because it was open when I started. So I'll need to slice something. I need to get Prusa Slicer working. What do people recommend nowadays? Orca Slicer or Prusa Slicer? I don't really feel like learning a whole new slicer just for a new printer. I'm used to Orca Slicer. I'm just way more used to Orca Slicer. If you haven't seen the revision 3 stuff for CASA, by the way, a lot of the stuff I did was just trying to lighten the printed parts. So if you have a look at a load of the printed parts now, you'll see cavities in all of them. Doing this, I managed to knock the bomb print filament amount down by like 500 grams. But that's for the standard one. Prusa Slicer, as all profiles are done for you. But don't they just... Here's my little bit of, not arrogance, but innocence here. Have the Orca Slicer guys not just gone through and taken the profiles from Prusa Slicer and put them in Orca Slicer? Like, seems like an easy enough thing to do. We have Ultimakers and Prusas at work that people can use. I've never seen the Ultimakers turned on. Fair. All kinds of Prusa printers, but you will need to tune it. Okay. I think I'll go with Prusa Slicer then. It's just annoying because I've got to open up. The reason I have so many printers is to cut down on time because, as Nero has always liked to say, if you want to print faster, don't get a faster printer, just get 2 printers instead. Yeah, just get another printer. So if I want to print with all my printers for one batch of items, say all the tiny box parts, I've now got to open up Bamboo Slicer for the Bamboo machines, Orca Slicer for the Centauri Carbon, and Prusa Slicer for the Prusa. That part looked more like an injection design, hollowed out. You could put in a hex pattern. You can. But I feel like, at least for Milo and Miley, the design language I used is its own thing. And if I start putting hexes and things in there, it feels like I'm just trying to imitate Voron. So there's a little bit of design flavor, I suppose, that I like to preserve. I say that, but I also got a whole bunch of hexes on Atlas. Like, Atlas is going to have hexes on it, and that's mostly just because Atlas is going to be a big machine with panels that are there to cover things up, and those panels alone take about 2 kilos of ABS to print. So the way I got around that and to lower the filament used for just those panels is I put a hex grid on it. So the hex grid keeps the majority of the strength that's needed, the minimal amount of strength that's needed for those panels to be rigid enough, but also uses a little bit less material. That's the only reason I do it like that. I've tested with both. Prusa Slicer with Prusa Connect integration is awesome. Not sure if this works in Orca the same way. Yeah, you could do triangle gussets. Yeah, I suppose. But isn't a hexagon just 6 times better than a triangle? Because you can fit 6 triangles in it? Still rocking the Alternator 2 Plus until I run out of filament. The printer should... What printer should I buy next? Depends. It really depends. Are you just looking for a printer to print knickknacks? Go with something that's 180 mil. If you want something that's 180 mil that you print yourself, go Micron. If you want something that you know is going to have support for a very, very long time, go Prusa Mini. If you want something that's just straight taken out of the box and it prints pretty quickly, and you don't mind all the, let's say, annoying stuff that the parent company does, A1 Mini. Now, those all come with different budgets as well. So if you're just looking for something that's budget, go with the A1 Mini. It's really annoying, and Nero says this a lot as well. There's nothing wrong with the bamboo printers. There's really nothing wrong with that. They're good printers. But the company is the shit part of them. And that's why I just can't continue to buy from them. I say that, but if they make something that's good enough, I might still buy from them. Okay, good. I didn't accidentally turn my battery off. I heard a beep. Triangles would be less material than hex. Depends on how you have them arranged. I also want I say I only do it for the strength. There's also a little bit of it looks cool in there. I think the hexes are better than that. Hexes are that middle ground between they look cool and they're actually structural. Do not buy Creality. Support is so bad. I had a Raptor that was bricked and they had, yeah. Creality is slowly turning into the 3D scanning and accessories brand. Like they have I think it's the M1 filament recycler, which I actually really want one. I would love one of those because the amount of parts that I go through parts that are like 600 to 700 grams each. So if they fail, I'm out a whole roll of filament. So if I can recycle them in some way, that would be great. I like the M1. I am convinced by what I've seen so far with the M1. It's the filament grinder that doesn't convince me very much. Because what I can see, what little resources are out there for it, they're basically just asking you to get filament poop and regrind that down and not grind down actual parts that have failed. The answer to a non-specific question like what printer should I buy must be the most stupid answer possible. I propose you do a big wrap one. Oh, fair. Was it Railcore that did the flying gantry before? No, it wasn't. They didn't do flying gantry before Voron. Railcore did what's it called? Z, you know, Z tilt, the 3-axis Z tilt that the Tridents do. I forget what it's called. It's escaped my mind. The device is good, but they messed the firmware up. I had the Raptor Pro with X for milliseconds and then lost the IR mode. Oh, fair. The collective Precious Plastics has good models for grinders. Trust me when I say, I know what goes into the engineering behind a grinder. Precious Plastics also knows this, right? And they do an excellent job. Don't let it ever be said that they don't do an excellent job. The problem with them is they take up a lot of space. A lot of space. So I've thought about this for months and months and months. I think there's a case in which you can do a pre-processed, as in you stick it in an oven, in a mold, in a silicon mold or graphite mold, right? And you melt everything down to a brick, right? And then you have an aperture in a smaller grinder, which has a couple of end mills in it, that has the exact same size aperture as the size of the brick. And that's how you get to recycling it. Rather than having big grinders that take up way too much room. Because again, it's the same thing with 3D printers, where most workshops and most little hobby spaces, they're not height limited, they're width and depth limited. So if I need to build a grinder that's really wide, I'm not going to do it. If I build a grinder that's 1.5 meters tall, but only the width of a printer wide, I'd build that. I'd build that shit every day. Guessing a Raptor is the 3D scanner. Is it IronScan, Creality, and there's one more company that they're basically the only competitors in the 3D scanner market. I know Superfast Matt he's not shilling. He's doing what he needs to do to make money. Right? It's his job after all. But he always has different scanners on. Whether or not it's for his little desert racer or for the Jag. The Jag. Are these rivets non-replaceable? Is that why I've got a full bag of them? Ooh, there's also a hypodermic needle in there. I do need those. I always forget to stock up on them. I am really looking forward to having a Prusa colored Miley, to be honest. Miley is going to be my test bed for 4th axis and for the tool changer. Well, all my machines are going to have tool changers on them. Atlas is going to have a tool changer on him. It's going to be... I don't think I'll need the turret style tool changer for Atlas because I'm going to have enough work area where if I put a couple of 4-packs on the machine, it's not going to be an issue. But I'm going to have the 4th axis and maybe like a rudimentary 5th axis on Miley, sorry. And then all my plate work is going to be done on Atlas, all my big plate work. Reveal point on the low end. Okay. Thank you. I didn't get the purpose for the melted puck. Can you explain it again, please? I feel the same way about the same way. Would build one any day. Cool. Go Micron. Right. Heart K did a really good job on that, on the design of the Micron. If you wanted to build one any day. Or are you talking about the grinder? So the idea behind it is, I wouldn't mind buying a little tiny toaster oven that I can put all my printed scraps in. So I would break the scraps up myself until they're like fist sized, for example, right? And then I have a mold that's like that big, right, and that wide, and I place all the chunks in the top, and I put my toaster oven or air fryer or whatever that's dedicated to this, turn it on, and then turn it on really low to the point where like it's only just at the melting point of the plastic that I'm trying to melt, and then turn it into a puck, right? I then remove that puck from the silicon mold or whatever, and I have a perfectly sized brick. Brisket's barking at something. I have a perfectly sized brick. And then that way, instead of having to grind up, the reason you have big grinders with multiple sets of teeth on them is because you don't have a defined size for whatever is being put through it. So it needs to be able to grind it up from large pieces to small pieces in the same way every single time. If you have a predefined puck, you can make a machine that has a bunch of high-speed end mills in it that's just driven by gears, right? Slide the puck itself into an aperture, and just by gravity, it will go through and come out at perfect size shreds on the other side. So you've turned an operation that requires a grinder that's this big into a space that can fit in the space of a toaster oven. That's the whole idea behind it. And you don't need to worry about having powerful enough motors. You could probably run the entire thing with a drill motor if you really wanted to, right? You could even have it auto feed the puck. So you could have it sideways and have some steppers auto feed the puck. Or you can skip this entire step, right? Still make a puck, but make a cylindrical one. Because for me, I don't want to recycle things into filament a lot of the time. I want to get an injection molder set up at some stage. Like a mini injection molder. Just get it in that puck size that fits straight into the injection molder. I don't need to feed any material in from the outside. Heat it up, it gets into molten plastic, and I just press a button and it goes shoof. Right? And then I can literally feel like I'm shotgunning an injection molder by putting little shotgun pellets in it and then going. You could do a puck with a spinning disc that snips off segments, but you require do a puck like a cocoa press slug. Yeah, something like that. Just have a slide. If the restriction is low enough, you should be able to auto feed without any power. Yeah, exactly. That's why I said initially it was just going to be gravity fed. I was disappointed that I was very, very disappointed that the P2S didn't come with the chamber heater. Another reason I wanted to go with the Prusa machines, because without a chamber heater, the Prusa machines tend to get a little bit hotter, which for the stuff I'm doing is fairly important. All right, be gone all this crap. Crapola. I got it. Thanks for sharing. It's a really cool. Yeah, I have loads of cool concepts. I don't have the time to actually explore them most of the time. There is someone who contacted me about. There's someone on the Discord who also contacted me about joining his team for the injection molder. I offered him to do it the other way around, where he comes onto the Millennium team and he gets access to all our resources. He hasn't got back to me about it. I'm not going to push it because it's his project at the end of the day. But it would be really nice if we could work together in some way to get it as a Millennium injection molder. Or if someone has plans and wants to approach me about it, feel free to. I'm always happy to get new projects on. I just can't actively participate in too many of them now because I've got my own stuff to deal with. But yeah, Tinybox is... I've only just started with Tinybox after doing all the Rev 3 stuff. I might... Some of the electronics panel stuff, I might just completely steal from Tinybox and get rid of the old version from Rev 3. Remember, Rev 3 is in alpha. It's not even in beta. It's got loads of stuff that's going to change. If you do anything from Tinybox or from Casa Rev 3, just remember it might disappear the next week or day, or it's not set in stone yet. Anything could change, and it could change drastically. Oh, I can't wait until streams. Well, I can wait until streams over because I like hanging out with you guys. But at the same time, I've got leftover Chinese food that I'm really looking forward to. Hey, Frankie. How you doing, dude? Is this your first time joining stream? Oh, we forgot the Haribos. We forgot that. They didn't give me any instructions for the Haribos. No! Haribo down! Haribo down! I'm not going to eat these, but I do need to pick them up so that brisket doesn't get at them. Speaking of which, should we get the boy inside? I should go to Germany to get Haribos. Do you not get Haribos in Norway? Is it Norway? I always forget. It is Norway. No. I've forgotten. Hey, bud. Hey, buddy. Come on, let's make some space for you. Come on. Jump. Jump. Come on. Come on, bud. Come on. Hug. Come on. Hug. Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, and then you can put your paws up here. The OG Norway. Yeah, it's huge. The box was like twice the size of the printer though. I like the fact that printer is keeping in making sure that the printer actually arrives in one piece by having such a big box. But at the same time, it was a literal millimeter smaller than my doorway downstairs. And when you've got a dog in one hand, you open the door and there's a printer in front of you and dog jumps over said printer box, it's quite hard to do anything. Denmark, that was it. Make it into a muck. Oh, no. 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 You just reminded me that mukbangs are a thing. God. Ugh. There's nothing I hate more than listening to other people eat. The 10-second rule I don't think applies in this case because my floor is covered in chips, dog hair, and printer grease. I have achieved perfect Z offset. Well, I have achieved nothing in my 26 years of life. Beat that. Clearance is clearance, Clarence. Hey, buddy. Is it too warm in here? Yeah, you're starting to pant a little bit.
No, you're not getting Haribo. You've already had chicken. You've already had chicken. I need to go to the store to grab you some more bribes later. Yeah? Come on. Come on, jump. Come on, hug. Good boy. Mario, thanks for subscribing, man. Thank you for subscribing. We're not too far off. I think we're about 200 hours away from finally getting this channel monetized, which would be nice. I know it's going to be like $5 a month max, but even if it is just $5 a month, that's $5 more I can put towards building things. Because it's really annoying, because we have other machines that we have not yet talked about, and other developers who have real jobs and can afford to do the development, and it's causing me a couple of issues by the fact that I am moving so slowly with Atlas, and other developers are getting so much further ahead of me, or at least catching up. Right, it's too hot in here for you, bud. Off you go. Alexa, living room lights on.
Okay.
Alexa, living room lights on.
Okay.
Why are you not turning the lights on? It's too dark. I'll be right back. That was strange. Oh, brisket. $5 is $5 for the project. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's like 100 M3 screws. How many CASAs could I build with 100 M3 screws? The answer is none, because CASA requires 300 M3 screws. At least V2 does. One of the things with not V2. At least Rev 2 does. One of the things we're doing with Rev 3 is we're lowering the screw count down a significant amount. I got my Core 1 Plus 2 months ago. Still printing daily with it. Grats on your Core 1 up. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You should all be thanking Prusa, to be honest, because, like I said at the beginning of the stream, this is a sponsored machine. I didn't pay for it. And Prusa, the guys from Prusa have been really, really, really supportive of the project. So yeah, keep an eye out. I might be doing a little blog post for them at some stage. I might do a video with them. I don't know. I don't know if we're an important enough project for the Prusa marketing team to want to feature us on the YouTube channel or whatever. But I'd love to if we could. Do I still buy all my fastest react cube? I do indeed, because honestly, there's nowhere really else in the UK. I can go to my local screw fix, but if I wanted to buy the bolts I wanted to buy, I'd have to buy them in packs of like 50, and I don't always need 50 of the same screw. It's more limited to what they have in stock at that place, and it's super expensive. AccuCube just makes way more sense. What? Are we ignoring you? What was the bark for? I swear, he's in that teenage phase where he's 1.5 years old now, and he just barks at everything, especially when I'm not paying him enough attention. Yes, you're famous, bud. You're famous. Well, you were in the dark out there. Did I forget to turn the lights on? Yeah? Well, the kitchen lights were still on. So you just had a little bit of light. I went the other route. I had 3.5k hours on the Bamboo Lab X1C and sold it for the H2C when that came out. That has 800 hours on it already. Yeah. Like I said, I don't really care that much about the H2C. If I could only choose one printer, I probably wouldn't choose a dual nozzle one for the money that they cost currently. Right? I would probably buy the H2S if I was going the Bamboo route, but I don't want to go the Bamboo route anymore. They've done enough to me. I don't want a printer that's not going to be usable in 2 years, or that gets such a big upgrade that I won't be able to take advantage of in 2 years. Whereas I know this, in 2 years' time, there's going to have an upgrade kit for it. That's just the way Prusa always has been. You can go from the Mark 1 all the way to a Core 1 Plus in terms of upgrade kits if you really wanted to. You could live stream the remainder of the rocket nozzle, print, set up camera, and come back in 16 hours. If you drive, it would drive some hours. I was thinking about doing the same. No, I don't like those long live streams of just printers printing. Like, I feel like that's just cheating the system a little bit. And remember, it's not about how many hours you produce. It's about how many hours people watch for after the live stream, because live stream hours don't always count towards watch hours. If you don't have enough people watching, the live stream hours don't count towards the total hours anyway. The Core 1 is a bit special. I don't think you'll see any major upgrade kits because of the mains powered bed. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. Because A, the bed is almost never ever going to need to be changed. Right? It's not something that needs to be changed. Its whole purpose in life is to go up, down. Right? There's no real upgrade path that needs to change the bed at all. Right? You're not making it any bigger because you're going to be limited by the frame size. This isn't an extrusion-based machine, so you can't make the frame bigger or smaller in an upgrade kit, at least. Right? So the bed only needs to go up and down, so you don't need to touch it. It needs no touching. Right? The upgrades you'll probably get are like 3D printed upgrades, like a better spool holder, better pass-through. You might get 1.5mm pitch belts rather than 2mm pitch belts to save on VFAs. There's loads of stuff, like even the auto closing system, which originally wasn't on the vent closing system, which originally wasn't on the release version of the Core 1. That stuff is the stuff I'm expecting. I'm not expecting a structural change, right? I do think there will still be upgrades that can be done. You can change the extruder, you can change the gantry, you can change the motors, you could make this a all-wheel drive if you wanted to. Could you? Yeah, you could easily make this all-wheel drive. Right? You'd need to find a way of getting 2 more motor drivers. True. But you could do that. Right? There's loads of things that you could do to this machine with an upgrade kit. Core 1L monolith, yeah. I look at a printer as a tool. I just want the tool to work when I want to use it. Aside from that, I don't care what color it is. That's fair. That's what I mean. I have 2 Bamboo printers over there. I have a Centauri Carbon, right? And that's fine. That's how I view the things. My Trident, and I love my Trident. I love the Vorons. Don't get me wrong, but my Trident's been sitting there for 2 years. I've tried to repair it so many times, never managed to get it to a working state. Other than the first 1.5 years that it was printing, it's not printed beyond that. right? This is still a tool. The Suntory Carbon, which is like $300, is still a tool. Both my Bamboo Labs printers are still tools. But I would like my tools to come with not just reliability in them working, in reliability that I can continue to maintain them, to upgrade them if I need to do all these things that I want without having an overlord tell me what I can and cannot do. If I wanted to, right, I'm sure there's already a Clipper version for this. There's probably already exists a Clipper install for this machine. And all you'd need to do is stick a Pi in the back and bam, done. Where I get all my fastest from the UK, give them a try. It's really cheap. I like Accu. I like Accu. We've also had sponsorship offers from Accu in the past. They weren't the type of sponsorship we were looking for at the time. I do actually need to get back to them about that. But yeah, Accu, I have the Accu, what's it called? I have the Accu membership, so I pay 30 quid a year and I get free delivery all the time, which is amazing. If I miss a couple of fasteners in an order, I don't have to then either email someone to amend the order, which is always a pain, or on top of that, instead of that, have to pay an extra shipping fee. So that's amazing from Accu. They have a whole load of obscure fasteners on there, which is great because I need a bunch of weird pins if I want to do because I want to do 2 versions of Atlas. Well, I want to do 1 version of Atlas, but I want to have it be able to have an epoxy granite bed. You can decide whether or not you want the epoxy granite filled bed or not. And I need a load of fasteners for the mold for that. So yeah, I don't think I'll be leaving Accu anytime soon. Also, for the size screws I'm buying in stainless, it's really good. It's like 3 cents for a single M3 screw. $0.03, 3 pence. I'm not American. I'm not English either, to be fair. I'm conflicted in where I'm from. I've also just realized that, is this lightning infill? I think this is lightning infill. Still, I'll have a look at it. I'll have a look at the link you sent. No, I'm not Welsh. I'm not from Europe. I'm not from this continent. No, I'm not English. I've set the stream to low latency mode. Yeah, it's on ultra low latency, but there seems to be a lot of latency. Yes, I'm down south, a lot more down south than down south of the UK though. Manx, Hello White, no. Much further south, yes. So this is the closest so far. But no, I'm not from SA. I went to high school in SA. I went to boarding school whilst I was in South Africa. But I'm not South African. I'm not from a British territory, so the Falklands is not an option either. Although I do have this fantasy of moving to the Falklands just to get away from people. But then I realized that if I wanted to do this, things like extrusions would cost me 10 times as much, and I would need to wait 3 months to get them. No, not Australian. I think OSC is saying I'm from Zim when he said Zima, but no, I'm not from Zim. Further north and east. I love the fact that stream's now just playing guess where you're from. No, Brisket. You cannot have Haribos. They'll kill you. And I don't want you to die. I want you to stay alive forever. Some of us do remember. No, not Mozambique, although my mum was born in Mozambique. But Yomagan, you and I chat off stream all the time, so of course you knew. Oh, someone's got it. Tanzania. I was born and raised in a quite large city, the capital of Tanzania, Dar es Salaam. But most of my family now lives in Kenya. So there's not too much difference between Kenya and Tanzania, in culture at least. They're both Swahili nations, so I interchangeably say I'm from Tanzania and Kenya. But yeah. Oh, cool. I think you mentioned this before, Raj, at Smurf. I live in Kitwe, Zambia, from 0 to 10, where I was born in the UK and moved there at 10 weeks old. See, I was different. I was born and raised in... Can you not try and push me over whilst I'm talking to stream? Born and raised in Tanzania, but to British parents, hence why I have the accent. And because of Tanzanian law, you either have to choose between your parents' passport or a Tanzanian passport. And the British passport would have got me a lot more places in the world, so my parents chose that at my birth. Hence why I now live in the UK. Right, this is looking pretty good. It's not looking too bad. It does actually stay pretty cool in here. Oh yeah, there's the door safety. I like the fact that it has that door safety on it. I really do like that. Would we trying to get a version of RepRap firmware that can do that? But here's the thing with live firmwares, with semi-live firmwares like RepRap firmware and Clipper, is it's really hard, especially for CNC machines, to find a safe state that you can use both whilst running a program and whilst not running the program. Because you can set it up as a macro quite easily. but it doesn't always work when you're not running a program. What are you chewing on? Not a Haribo, is it? No, it's not a Haribo. Just a bit of string. You can play with your string. I disabled the door sensor. Why? It gives you the option to. It's not a bad thing to have. I do think 3D printers need e-stops. No way. Not a chance. All right, I'm going to go on Accu right now. I'm going to go on Accu right now. All right. I'll even show you. All right, so how many did you say? You say 10, right? So let's try an A2 stainless. £3.40. That is not £4.09. That's a significant difference. And when you buy in bulk like I do, like that price gets even cheaper per. When you buy like 100 of them, it goes down to from 34 pence per fastener to I think 20, probably less. Actually, I'll do that now. I'll check it now. Yeah, when you buy 100 of them, it goes down to 22 per. So I can buy 100 of those M5 by 30 mil cap screws for 22 quid. That's not even with Accu Pro, right? Ollie, that's not even with Accu Pro. I'm not signed into my Accu Pro account on this computer. Not yet, anyway. That's just the bog standard price. Yeah, Raj, why did you disable the door sensor? How long have we been streaming for? 2 hours. Okay, I think we're gonna do 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes. We'll do open question time. Let's do question time with Jake. All right. Let's do open question time with Jake. Right. We've got 10 more minutes, and then I'm gonna close off stream. Does anyone have any questions they would like to ask about either Atlas, or Milo, or kits, or LDO, or just Millennium in general, or anything like that? Feel free to ask them now. Yeah, but VAT is 20%. You're even if we include a VAT, which I don't because I order them as a business. Are you going to do a stream on Atlas soon? I might do. Like I said, a lot of the stuff that I'm struggling with is just getting parts made. That's why we're doing the V2 kit first. But yeah, they'll when Atlas comes around, we'll be doing some streams on Atlas. Is LDO selling kits in Australia? That depends on whether or not your resellers want to buy kits from LDO. So I forget who it is, who's the Australian reseller. I'll just look it up on Discord real quick. Topic, vendors. DREMC. You'll have to ask DREMC. There's a chat. There's a channel for them in the Discord. If you want to ask. So yeah, they'll be selling some kits. Well, hopefully, but it's up to them. They've got to choose to buy from LDO. String, I had a Cat U8 string when it came out. It was a lot of fun as mum and kind of chased around. Oh, gross. Gross. But yeah, Ollie, I get what you're saying. At the same time, A, I'm not paying VAT, or because I'm VAT exempt, because I'm not big enough business. Well, Polymatrix isn't. Just in case anyone's wondering, we have to be a business here in the UK to handle the money that comes in from things like donations and stuff like that. So Polymatrix is the overarching business that handles all of that. And it's also my private, when I do print jobs for people, like I do print jobs for Dave from DMS every now and again. But it's not a big business type thing. But yeah, A, I don't pay the VAT. And B, I'm not buying in 10 fastener batches. I'm buying in 100 or 200 or 300 batches. So the price goes way down. And it's all A2 stainless. And I'd rather buy that. I'd rather buy good fasteners from places that are actually well established. I know Accu's the best in the UK. I've bought from them a million times. Right, it looks like that's going to be everything for stream. So I'll just sign everything off. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming to stream. I always appreciate having people over. It makes these streams so much more fun. I'm glad we managed to get something out this early. I know it's a 3D printer stream and not CNC stream, which is absolutely fine on my end. Obviously, you guys would rather see the CNC stuff. There is CNC stuff coming. But other than that, thank you very much. If you do want to support anything that we do, either leave us a like, subscribe to the channel, or if you want to go even further, there are some donation links down the bottom. All that money goes straight back into development. None of it goes into anything private. So you can rest assured that your money is actually going towards funding the project and not just how much Chinese food I can buy. As always, thank you so much. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye now.